Many decades before the War Master Horus, first amongst equals, turned his back from the light of the Imperium, truths gleaned by the Primarch Lorgar deep within the Eye of Terror proliferated throughout the Word-Bearer's Legion. The Aurelian and his sons studied the vast boon of ancient knowledge at length, devouring every morsel generously gifted them by the denizens of the Warp. In turn, and supported by the traditional warrior lodges of the Astartes, chaplains of the 17th Legion would second themselves to select legions to spread the word, deciphered and documented by Lorgar's own hand. Brother Glorn of the Dow of 14th was put forward to study alongside a so-called Apostle of the Word, a member of Corferon's inner circle no less. After many years of dedicated study and communion, Glorn was ready to sow the message of the primordial annihilator amongst his own legion. Hi guys, today's retrospective is actually a slightly more recent model that I made, but I had a request to pop this chap up. And this is Brother Glorn, who is basically a chaplain in artificer armor, and I made this guy actually off the back of an incredible guy on social media called Hauke Jacobsen. It's from a Bavarian friend. I actually don't know if he's from Bavaria, but a German friend, and he has runs a page called The Forged Temple, and he's been playing around with an incredible Dark Angels army that he's based off of the plastic 40k Plague Marines. So they're obviously much larger in stature, matching my own, which is fantastic. So I have promised to throw down with him at some point in the near future when travel's a little bit easier. But he used this model, which is a Plague Surgeon, I believe they're called, but it's part of the 40k range. He used this model to make a chaplain of his own for his Dark Angels, and I just had to follow suit. I couldn't have Hauke one-up me, so gave it a good bash myself there. So great. Actually, you know what? It's one of those sort of situations where the penny drops and you think, now why didn't I think of that? And then I thought, you know what? I can also make one as well. So, but yeah, great starting model. Initially, I wasn't really blown away with it because it's got a terrible head and it's a bit, it's nice overall, but obviously has an awful lot of potential. So it doesn't need heightening at all. This guy has got quite a meaty stature, as you can see. But there we go. So I took cues from Hauke. I thought, whilst that it's not necessarily a particularly common thing to see in an army, in a Death Guard army, they would be there nonetheless. You'd have just want to try and just get some fluff off here. There we go. So yeah, so you would have them nonetheless in that kind of circumstance. So in a legion of over 100,000 Astartes, it would be a little bit mad if you didn't have one or two around. So so great base model. This guy has been sort of taught under Corferon of the Word Bearers. So he's pretty devout. Now obviously, no witchy poo stuff, quote unquote, in the 14th Legion, but you would have had Marines who have a sort of a curiosity, one could say, and that would only have been strengthened by time within a legion like the Word Bearers, who obviously had been introduced to and exposed to the warp and the goings on in the warp for 50 years prior to the Horus Heresy. So sowing the seeds and really infiltrating and getting those ideas across to the legions in which they thought it would be possible. So but today I'll just sort of talk a bit about the conversion itself, where parts are from, all that kind of stuff, and talk a little bit about the process used to clean up a little bit of the contagion that this model would have had. So I think there's only really one area that you can see on his left leg at the top, at the back, where I've removed some detailing just to get it nice and clean looking. So the model itself, like I said, it's the Plague Surgeon or something along those lines. The Gorge is from one of the easy to build Dark Imperium Death Guard dudes, one of the Plague Marines from there. The arms are both from various Death Guard plastics. The shoulder pads are from the 7-man Death Guard Plague Marine set. Now the head, I believe, is a Sons of Horus bear head. I don't know if that comes with the command squad or something along those lines. Again, if I'm incorrect, I am more than happy to be set straight in the comments, so please don't hesitate to do that. The backpack obviously is from another, I think that's from one of the special Japanese release Plague Marines that was sort of Space Marine Heroes 3. If you're not aware of that, give it a look. It's a fantastic base set to work off to get some models done. The mace, the actual hand and the handle, the grip and the shaft, they're from haft, I should say. They are from the new Chaos Space Marine set. Excellent set, especially if you are going down that Sons of Horus or Word Bearers route. That would be an awful, like a great source of inspiration for parts. Just a little bit spikier, a little bit more ornate, so they'd work very nicely for either of those two legions. The 16th being Sons of Horus and 17th being the Word Bearers. And the mace head is from a company called Conversion World. Now I'll provide a link for this in the notes for this episode, I suppose. They're excellent, really good parts. I believe they're based out of Germany, but don't quote me on that. But very good indeed. Really excellent weapons for all sorts of different legions that would really fit the bill very nicely indeed. The exhausts on the back, those sorts of sensors on the top of the backpack there, spewing out smoke, they are from one of the Dark Angels characters. It may be like an interrogator chaplain or something along those lines. Again, I couldn't pinpoint down for you which set it was from explicitly, but there we go. And I believe that's about it. The book, I try and remember where that's from actually. I think it may well be from, there's a Severin Loth and his cohort and his bodyguard, his honor guard. I think that might have been hacked off of the backpack of Loth himself. So it's obviously covered in all sorts of eagle and imperial iconography. So that won't do. Just got rid of that. Obviously, you can see from the back of the book that I've massively reconstructed that in both a mixture of milliput and green stuff, and then a green stuff spine. But I thought that was a really nice detail. I mean, you can see each individual page. Again, that'd be lovely to weather, draw some pictures on the inside, do some freehand, and you can see how I've got that little fly motif, that little fly detailing on the bookmark, just tie in with the rest of the force. And obviously, this guy would be, maybe wouldn't be too far. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to have him making inspections on cultists and stuff like that. And he's just got a bit of detail tying him into those boys as well. You can obviously see on the gorget he's got an open-winged fly, and on his pistol there you've got the three sort of circles of metal to make up that Nurgle symbol that I touched on in the last episode. Obviously the power of the number 3 with Nurgle, and there's also like another little fly sort of medallion or icon hanging off that as well. So yeah, I think this guy obviously wanted to make someone who looks like they're sort of in reflection, deep reflection. Maybe there's something particularly moving in the book that he's come to. He's thinking about his drinks order really, but yeah. So there may be something he's just sort of, maybe he can feel a presence, or this is the prelude to a big happening, with that kind of stuff. So very reflective pose. I think that works very nicely for a chaplain. Also works nicely for a whole host of other console choices, but namely things like esoterists and librarians, anything that's remotely witchy poo, I suppose. So, but there we have it. So we have Brother Glorn in all his glory, if you will. Looking forward to getting this guy painted up. I expect I might see if I can get away with either doing black robes, which could work quite nicely against the off-white armor. But I'll definitely poke you guys for some opinions on how I should get this guy done. But again, the typical sort of very pale skin tone with maybe some shadows under the eyes. It's a pretty exhausted dude. Although actually he may be invigorated by the passages that he's reading. So there we go. No doubt that he'll have an awful lot of corruption running deep throughout himself, if not visible, then underneath the armor. All sorts of stuff going on there. So, yeah, really looking forward to getting this guy done up. Not sure I'll even necessarily use him very often, but he would run quite nicely with my veteran squad, who are all armed with either power mauls or power axes, just to give them a bit of a buff in combat, I suppose. Maybe this dude and a herald or something along those lines. But it's just another additional choice to use. I mean, you can see there's a couple of gaps as well that I've had to do with wrists and under the arms, just for some soft armor. Again, I'll record this when able to go through it with you guys, just to make sure that tutorial is available. Very, very simple, straightforward, but it's a really very useful technique to reposing your models and making them just a little bit more interesting. So there we go. As ever, please leave comments underneath the video. Any suggestions, feedback, if you enjoyed the video, what you enjoyed about it, what I could have expanded on a little bit more, and sort of take it from there. As I said with the last retrospective, this one again would have been, me rifling through my extensive bits boxes just to find the right parts and sort of taking it from there. Me knowing what I'll have and what would work. So obviously the heavily embellished skull shoulder pads there, a little bit morbid, a little bit grimdark. Many might argue that they're probably a little bit too 40k, but I think they work very nice. In fact, I used them as well for my Legion champion, who I'll probably do a retrospective of quite soon. But I think it's just a lovely detail, especially with all sorts of weathering that you can get done to them as well, like verdigris using Nilac oxide, which is a very, very good piece of kit. If you don't have it already, it's a part of the Citadel range. Let me have a look to see if I can find it. It's part of their technical range, and that's available in every GW store, if in stock, of course. And that's essential for doing things like bronzes. So that would come in very handy indeed, just to give it a little bit of weathering. But there we go. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, and I'll be able to keep churning out more as I go. So I've got some time between now and when I'm supposed to be having surgery next Saturday. Went in for a CT scan this morning, so hopefully the prognosis won't be too bad. But I've been booked in for surgery anyway next Wednesday. So between now and then, I will try my best to keep producing content for you guys to enjoy, and make suggestions on which characters you want to see, because there's obviously a finite amount of time that I'll be able to make these videos before then. Anyway, as ever, thanks for watching. Cheerio!